Brisbane, how are you? Welcome to Wednesday afternoon. It's 4:30 already. I don't know where the week goes or the day goes. I'm Katie Gordon. I am the founder of Dietless Living, the creator of personal health leadership programs, which is the real alternative to dieting, and the author of The Missing Link to Sustainable Weight Loss. Welcome and thank you for joining me this afternoon. I'm wondering if somebody's there watching, can they please hop on and tell me, is that riding back to front for you at the moment? Because I've been playing with technology quite a bit and trying to get it so that this, like when I'm looking at it, that is actually back to front to me, and I was wondering if it is still back to front to you. And until I can get somebody to confirm that for me, I'm just going to carry on. How are you all today? Yes, can you tell me? I've got somebody on there. Is that you, Maricris? Can you please tell me if this is back to front to you or if you can read it? Just waiting. It's backwards. Okay, well that's really annoying, isn't it? Because we don't want backwards. We want it to be the right way around for you. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to turn the dang phone around in a minute and so that I can write on the board and you can see it. It's very frustrating. If anybody out there knows how to get an Android phone to flip off of this mirror image thing, I've done all the YouTube, I've looked everywhere, and there's this little icon that should be showing on the phone, but it doesn't seem to show on the Android. Apparently it's maybe on iPhones, but it's not on the Android phone. So I've got a Samsung Note 9. If anyone knows how to take the mirror image off so that I can look at the screen and talk to you and you can read what's on the board, that would just make my life so much happier, because every other time now I'm going to have to turn you around and you'll be able to see it, but I won't be able to see you, and I like to see you. You're the reason I'm here. I'm here to see you and interact with you and chat with you. So I just don't know how to change that. So I'm going to turn you around. Hello, Lindsay. How are things over in England for you guys? You guys are having it all. Oh, you've got it really tightened down over there. I miss being over there, but you guys have really got it a lot more challenging than we do over here. Hello, Kay. Nice to see you watching. Thanks for joining in. How are things down your way? It's really good to see that you're on again today. Thank you for supporting me and jumping on to see what I've got to say. I was just saying, if anybody knows how to make a Samsung Note 9 on Facebook Live, not have the mirror image so that you can read this, and me be able to talk to you and see you. If you know how to fix that setting, please let me know, because at the minute I'm going to have to now turn you around so that you can read what's on the board, and I can talk to you, but I can't see you anymore. So I'm going to turn you around now, and voila, where we are. I won't put you in front of the light because you're going to have to look at something for a sec. I'll turn you around, then we'll have a chat. Bye for now. Oh, let me put you down. I have to put you down. Oh, there you go. There's the board. Look, there's my hand. Trying to get you set up there. We'll just turn you around like that. Nice to talk with you all. Please leave me some comments. It's lovely chatting. Ta-da! It's like magic, isn't it? Goodness gracious. So, we talked this morning, well I did, I hope you were on. What we're talking about today is when great change comes, it's such a fabulous opportunity to design some extra great change for yourself. Because the good thing about when change comes, whether it's COVID-19 or whether you've made a big change in your life and you've decided to move house, change jobs, change relationships, I don't know, make an actual change, it's a good time to make a full sweep of changes, because what happens is we get caught in these cow paths of life where we go to the same places physically. We physically go from home to the same shops, to the workplace, to whatever extracurricular activities we have for the other family members or for ourselves. We just do this same thing of staying on this same cow path, and that causes us to get entrenched into habits, not only habits of behavior, but habits of the way we think and the way we feel, because we're going to the same places and we have feelings about these same places. We get caught up in the same traffic jams, we get caught up in the same queues at the supermarket, we get caught up in the same situations over and over, and that causes us to have habitual thoughts, feelings, which lead to our habitual behaviors. So when there's a change, like at the moment, we're not driving to work and we're not going to we're not doing the same thing day in, day out. We're kind of staying home. So all of those cow paths have broken, and it's a fabulous time to now make some new change. So this morning I listed out what you can do to help yourself instigate new change. And the first thing was to identify the change that you want to have, the extra change that you want to have. Now, do you want to have a change in careers? Do you want to change the way you interact with your family? Do you want to change anything? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to set new goals or reach new goals? But more importantly, from Dietless Living's world, do you want to change your health? And if you do, now's the time. Identify the change that you want to make, whatever that change is. Oh, I meant to set me a little timer today so that I can just do 15 minutes with you, because I think I talk a bit long. So identify the change that you want to make, and then make a mud map of who's connected to that change. So you want to think, okay, so if it's me and I'm probably not a good example because I just work for me. It's all Katie land over here. But let's say back in the day when I had a partner and I, used to go to a place of work. If I wanted to change what I was eating, which I often did, go on a diet, start a new health program, what I would have to have done, or could have done, was gone, right, this is what I want to change. I want to stop having these things in the evening. I want to stop having these things on the weekend. I don't want pizzas anymore. I don't want alcohol on the, during the week, maybe on a weekend. I don't want to eat takeaway food. I don't want to have anything from what we used to have, the truck that would come in and occasionally have stuff off there. There's all these places I would need to change my eating habits. And so what I do is, in this case, you'd write down all of those places where you want to make a change and who's connected to that. So if I was wanting to make changes at home and I didn't want to have alcohol during the week, and I didn't want pizzas on the weekend, and I didn't want to have little snackies during the week, those changes that I want to make were going to heavily impact the people in my home, so my then partner. And so what you need to write down is who's going to be impacted, because then you've got to make a mud map of how that plan's going to roll out for all people who are impacted, because any change is going to change you, but it's going to change for everybody, and you need to have everybody on board. And that's what the most important thing of a plan is how you're going to include others. So we've got inclusive. You want a plan that's inclusive of others, so they get to talk about it too and join in. not always, because sometimes things are going to affect people and we don't really need their, you know, like the people I worked with. Well, I wasn't going to be joining in on the birthday parties and the different morning teas that they did. So whilst I could join in and be a part of it, my not eating that food wasn't really going to impact them, other than maybe sometimes they get a little bit funny because you're not joining in. So it's really more about informing them what I'm doing and talking to them and reassuring them that I would still be, this is just examples, right? So it'd be like to inform them that, you know, you're still part of the community, still interested, still part of it, just not going to partake in that portion of it. And then if it's the people that you're actually living with, and then you need to sort of get their buy-in as well, because they're going to be impacted by the food that you're going to either be buying or not buying. So we went through all of that, identify the change, map out who's going to be infected. I think I've got COVID-19 on the brain. Is going to be affected. Make a plan that's inclusive, so everyone's in the same page and understands and wants the same thing together. Make a plan to roll out that change. Identify your knowledge and skills gaps, because we have knowledge and skills gaps on how to actually instigate change, how to roll it out, what are the changes we want to make. Sometimes our knowledge and skills gap is, well, I don't want that, but I don't know what else I can have that's going to fill that gap. And then the most important one was to take action, because all of this is fabulous, but if there's no action point, then it's just theory. And the reason that taking action is so important is because we all know that in theory and practice are the same, but in practice they are not. So taking action is the last step of this process, but it's actually the first step of implementing a plan, because for every action that you take, you start to find out what really happens and what are the real knock-on effects of changes. Sometimes they're really great, but they're still going to change that plan. So it becomes a cycle of 5, 3, 2, because you've got to keep reassessing and re-implementing, and then 4, it's a live program, if you like. It's never a static program, because you're going to constantly take action, find out how it works. If it's not working, you have to change your plan, and you'll constantly be finding out what are your knowledge and skills gaps. But what I really wanted to talk to you about this afternoon was the actual ruts that we get stuck in and the things that we really need to change. Because if you change behaviour, we've all changed behaviour before, haven't we? If you've ever done a diet, that's a behaviour change. If you've ever started an exercise program, that's a behaviour change. And we all know it's not a sticky change, because behaviour's down here. But then you've also got beliefs, you've got values, and you've got your identity. I can't spell it, that says identity. Okay? And environment. Now we normally go for this one, and this one we change. Sometimes we change our environment. A lot of us have changed our environment thanks to the recent events. And then we've been at home and we've changed our environment more because we've been cleaning like maniacs, rearranging and decluttering, which is fabulous. So we've been cleaning up that environment, which is good, because the environment sometimes dictates the behaviours that we have. We've been changing our behaviours because we've not been going to work and doing the social things. We have made a lot of changes just by default. But this is where it comes into changing by design. When you're mapping out the change that you want to make, if you identify what are your real beliefs around that thing that you want to change? Do you really believe you can do it? Or do you believe that maybe you're not sure if you can do it? Or perhaps you actually have a belief that you can't do it. Some people do have a belief that they can't do something. They have a crack at it, but in their mind they're saying, I don't think it'll work. And it's usually prefaced by, I'll try. And we all know that when you say try, your brain's already gone, oh, really? We just didn't make it. We tried. So we've got to think about our beliefs. What are the beliefs that you have about the changes that you want to make? Do you believe they'll stick? Do you believe that you can? Do you believe that you have the capabilities, the ability, the sustenance to make the change? And then there's to think about your values. What are the values? If you value, if part of your values is pleasing others and making a change is going to make you unpopular, that's going to be a bit of a rub for you, because you're going to have to start being a different person, because some people aren't going to want you to change. And if you really like to please people, then you're going to end up not creating that change because it's upsetting the apple cart. If you have a value that says, I don't like to ask people to do anything, I don't like to ask to have my needs met, I'm not used to asking to having my needs or value wants met. If that's in your value system, that's also going to make it hard for you to change, because when we need to change, as I said back in the other sheet here, what you need to do is find out who else is going to be affected by the change and create an inclusive program. That's going to require asking. So if you actually have a problem with asking, then this is going to give you some problems down here at the behavioural change. Because if you haven't got the beliefs about your capabilities to be able to change, or maybe you have the beliefs but your values are that you can't ask people to help, or you can't ask people to change, or that you really like to be a people pleaser, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a majority of us are a people pleaser, and when the majority of us put other people's needs ahead of our own, this is where it gets a bit not sticky, where a new habit is no longer as sticky as you want it to be. Because it's okay to change a behavior, but it's up here at these levels where a change in behavior gets really sticky. Because if you change these things, and if you change your identity, I talked about this the other week, if you identify with yourself as a fat person, then you're always going to identify with yourself as a fat person. The values and beliefs will be under there supporting that, and so will the behaviours and environment to some extent. But the behaviour won't be a sticky behaviour because you haven't changed your identity. So when you start to think about making a behavioural change, you have to include in this plan those other aspects, because otherwise we know that's just gibber. If we have tried to change before, if we've done plans before, and we've gone through a similar process, then we know that if we haven't addressed these things, we know what the result is because we've already experienced it. The other thing that is part of this, which is the quite a big part of the cow path that we get stuck on, the ruts that we get grooved into, is the thoughts and the feelings and reactions that we have. Because the thoughts that you have generate the feelings. You get kind of into a little whirly cycle there, a little whirlpool. Now, if they're good thoughts and good feelings, that's a really good spiral to be in. But if your thoughts and feelings are of the kind that are not helpful, that they're more negative, they're more pessimistic, then you go into that kind of a swirl, and what spits out of that spiral, out of that whirlpool, are your reactions. So if it was a good thinking spiral of thoughts and feelings, it spits out really good reactions, and you react nicely to the world and the people around you and the things that happen. But if what is in here is a pessimistic, just not a helpful feeling, like if it's a worried one, or one that has a predisposition to seriousness. I mean, it just has to be seriousness. It doesn't even have to be pessimistic or negative, you know. It's just a serious kind of attitude, which is all part of here. Then it spits out reactions that match. And the reactions that you have dictate the behaviors that you will exhibit. Our behaviors are always a match to our reactions, and our thoughts and feelings are always our reactions are always a match to our thoughts and feelings. And your behaviors create your results, and your results create your experiences. So if you want to change the experiences that you have to go back up the line and change the thinking and feeling cow paths that you are stuck in. And we are all stuck in cow paths of thinking and feeling. The current situation that everyone's in, where change has been brought to us with great gusto, has meant that we've got a great opportunity to change these thoughts and feelings, because we're no longer going to the office. Do you know most people have a heart attack? Statistics show that the biggest number of heart attacks happen at 9 a.m. on a Monday as people are going to work, because they're not happy about work, and those thoughts and feelings start to really ramp up. So what you have been given with the gift of COVID-19 is an opportunity to sort through the thoughts, feelings that you have, because the future of your health and happiness really does depend mostly on your ability to change your unconscious thoughts, feelings, and reactions, because when you can change that, then you can change your behaviors. So when you're thinking about your plan, when you're thinking about identifying the change that you want to make, may I suggest that you think about the thoughts and feelings that you have. And the best way to think about what thoughts and feelings that you might want to change is to think about the reactions that you have to people and to life, and the way that you generally kind of feel on a day-to-day basis. And that will be your best indicator about which ones you need to want to change in regards to thoughts and feelings. It's always going to be both, but which ones? Where are you having a big reaction that you go, oh, I wouldn't mind changing that reaction, because if I change that reaction, I'm going to change the supplementary behavior that follows it, which is normally food in mouth, or sitting on the couch and not exercising. It's usually something that is giving you results that you currently are not enjoying, which is wanting you to make a change that you do enjoy. Does that make sense? It seems quite complicated, but it's not. It's very simple. It all starts with thoughts and feelings. That's where the real changes need to be made, not necessarily at a behavioural level. Because if you change your values and beliefs and change your identity, if you stop thinking of yourself as a fat person, or a poor person, or an unhappy person, or a person with issues, or a person with a sad background, or whatever, we all carry around these really weird identities from the past. If you wanted to let go of those identities and think about who do you want to be? What would you like? Who would you like to identify as? Who do you want to identify as? How do you want to identify yourself? How do you, not to others, not make a declaration to the world, it's who you think you are when you look in that mirror. That's the story that actually needs to change. It's not what we say to others, although that sometimes is very helpful when that story that we speak to others is congruent with who we think we are ourselves. And what we really want to change is up here. We want this to change, identity and thoughts, feelings, reactions, so that down here, those behaviors that we want to change will get a bit more sticky. And they won't be sticky, they will be part of who you are. You won't even have to change them. They will change themselves, because the change comes from the top down. Does that make sense? Normally we're trying to change up. We change a behavior, but we're not worried about this. Sometimes people are doing a bit of belief change in NLP. But this is the rarity, and that, you know, you're only changing one belief at a time. The amount of beliefs that we have is as big as the universe. So it's really hard to change your identity just by changing one belief at a time. It's a very big picture, but it can be done. That's what personal health leadership programs are about. It's about changing this up the top here. It's about changing the thoughts and feelings that you're having on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis, understanding where it's coming from, so that you can be able to change your identity with effortlessly, like with not having to go, oh, I'm going to be this. It's just you change, because you start to change those thoughts and feelings. You change your reactions, you get a different response from the world, and it gives you different behaviors that go out to the world, and that gives you great results that you like and experiences that make you happy. And that's why COVID-19 is actually, for a lot of us, going to be the thing that can help you actually make a big change, a change by design. You've been given the opportunity to create great change for yourself right now, because all your cow paths are broken. It's making it easier for you to step out, because normally when we say change, we go, oh, it's too hard. I've got too many routines and habits going on. It's too hard to change. Change is not hard. Change is a process. And when you grab that process and you go, right, I'm making a change and I'm going to follow the process and go through what it is that I really need to change, and it isn't behavioral, it's thoughts and feelings at the beginning. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so I'm going to wind you up. I'm going to turn you back around. Oh, where are you? Hello, Toby. Hello, Bart. Oh, nice to see you on there, Bart. What's going on? Hey, Jody. Yes, so if you just make that giant leap, it's not just behaviors that we want to change, it's actually the thoughts and feelings that we need to get a handle on. So I'm going to say farewell for this afternoon. Thank you very much for watching. If you think this video was helpful and you know someone it would be helpful to, could you please share it and spread the love? That would be wonderful. And if you wouldn't mind, if you could leave me a comment and let me know whether the information really is helpful to you, because if it is, and I know I'm on the right track, just leave me a thumbs up or something, because then I know I'm on the right track and I'm happy to keep talking to you. I just want to know that what I'm sharing is something that's useful and valuable to you, because there's no point if it's not, you know. So, or if there's something else you'd rather know about, leave me a comment and I can talk about that for you. Happy to just find topics that suit you, as long as there's something I know about, and we'll share the love. So take care. I'm doing the live broadcasts. Thank you. Hey, thank you. I'm doing the live broadcasts Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays at 1 and 4:30. And yeah, that's all for today. So thank you very much. Take care. Mwah. Love you all, and I will see you on Friday at 1. Take care for now. Bye.